and welcome back to my Proposition by States Passed. This is part 2 of California, and this will conclude from the year 2002 to 2018 in the laws that California passed and how they helped shape the laws of the state and how they made people enact the way they do in the way that they live there. I will put a video up in the corner to where you can see the first half of this from 1980 to 2000 California laws passed. Furthermore, I make these videos and I will choose a few more United States states to do what I do here just to get so we can get an understanding of how life in America is different state by state. But what I really want to do eventually is get into how different countries have different laws, and I also wanted to get into federal laws, similar to this fashion. So I also want to mention one more thing. These are important. I want to encourage you that your vote does matter, and that you also, not only by voting, you can make a law happen. You can gather signatures and so forth to make a law matter. With that all being said, let's get into it. In 2002, your vote matters. Insurance fraud. In 2002, there was a Proposition 43 passed. It was a constitutional right to have one vote counted, to explicitly state that every vote cast in accordance with state laws shall be counted. Now, the reason this came out was the year in 2000, the Florida presidential election. If you remember, that was when Gore, I think wasn't it Gore and Bush were running against each other? And it came down to Florida, and the old senior citizen homes and such, that some machine messed up and it was a really close tie. So they decided, well, we have to count every vote. Human power is better than machine power. So, okay, good law. Moving on. Same year, California Proposition 44, regulation of chiropractors. This was an attempt to stop insurance fraud. You know, in America, even though insurance is high, insurance companies and whatnot will find ways to loopholes in the system. In this case, it was for chiropractors, but they also have these for workers' compensation and so many other things that the medical companies will bill, and therefore they'll bill the state. So this was a way to try to regulate it and save the state money. Okay, good job. Now, this is a big one. Remember how I said your vote matters? In 2003, they had a special election to recall the governor, Gray Davis. Now, recalling governors are not an easy thing, let alone in California, considering Gray Davis was a Democrat. And basically, California is all Democrats. Anyway, it was successful in 2003 to recall Gray Davis, a Democrat, from his position of governor of California. The outcome of the recall held on October 7, 2003, was that Davis was recalled in favor of the Republican Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yes, you know that famous actor in Terminator 2. I'll be back. Okay. The recall effect was the first successful recall of a California governor and only the second recall of a state governor in American history. So your signature efforts in advocating and votes do matter. So whenever you think you have a problem, my vote doesn't matter, I don't count, remember they do. Why was he recalled? Well, these are things that he wanted to pass. He wanted to give driver's licenses to illegal aliens. So basically, with the driver's license and somebody who was outside the country, they could vote. That you had to have a form of ID to vote, and you also had to have that form of ID was halfway there to get a job in California. Furthermore, he wanted to give in-state tuition to illegal aliens. So basically, you know, if I'm from California and I go to New York, I have to pay out-of-state tuition. So if New York pays 1,000 a month, I may have to pay 3,000 for that same school. So this illegal person, say, could be from Mexico or Europe or whatever, and they could still pay the regular same rates as you, even though they're not from here. Okay. He also wanted to give cross-dressing as a civil right. All right. I don't know much about that. But then he killed Proposition 187. Now, you might recall that 187 from a few years ago. Well, not a few years ago, but from video number 1. So you should go look back on it. That was one where they said that illegals or people that were not American citizens could not get state welfare. So they couldn't get HUD, they couldn't get food stamps, they couldn't get anything. And he basically he overturned it. And then he tried to triple the car tax to pay for all these things he wanted to implement. So is that the kind of governor you'd want? Somebody who's kind of looking out for people that are not citizens. He wanted the vote. So, all right. And then in 2004, Arnold Schwarzenegger came in office. And Proposition 58 requires state legislators to pass balanced budgets every year. It also created a revenue reserve fund called the Budget Stabilization Account in case of a future financial trouble. It prohibited the creation of any future bonds to pay off deficits. Proposition 71 passed as well. The California STEM Research and Cruz Initiative. The initiative made constitutional stem cell research state constitutional right. Okay, around this time, they were saying that they were debating did the stem cells were they like really human life? Like you know how the embryo, the people who want abortions and stuff, they go, no, you can't because the baby has feelings, the baby has life. So stem cells grow everything. And some people were saying that they were taboo, but this made it okay. Proposition 69 required the collection of DNA samples from all felons and from adults and juveniles arrested for charged with specified crimes. The DNA samples must be submitted to the DNA database. So around 2004 is when DNA really started catching on, and now you're in their database, and now we look for us 10 years later where we have, 23andMe and all those other family tree DNA websites. So I have a question for you. How is your budget, your family budget, or your state or countries? Is it balanced or are you broke? Let me know. Moving on. 2006, California Proposition 83, also known as Jessica's Law, is well known for requiring sex offenders who have been convicted of a felony of sex offense to be monitored by GPS devices while on parole and for any remainder of their life. Alright, so they have it anklet forever. It kind of feels like us nowadays, how like some countries, because of this virus, they're asking us to track us on our app or track us on a wristband. What do you think about that? 2008, this is my land. Okay, Proposition 99 passed. And the rules of eminent domain prohibits state and local governments from acquiring owner-occupied residence for the purpose of conveying it to another person. With certain listed exceptions, Proposition 99 does not change current rules regarding the eminent domain. Now, to get a better understanding of this, this is like when the state came in and they said, we want to build a freeway through your farm. It's kind of a straight road from point A to point B versus making a big, half circle. So, but people tried doing this and they said, no, we don't want to move and we don't want your money. So this actually came about because of that. Other countries, like Vietnam, they would sell a lot of the farmers' land to make golf courses for investors, and they put them in these little, apartments or condos. So they lost their land, but they got a slightly upgraded house. I'm sure most people want their land back. So that's kind of a little history on what eminent domain is and why it's important. Okay, let's move on. 2008, Old MacDonald had a farm, animal rights. Proposition 2, standard for confining farm animals, created a new state statute that prohibited the confinement of farm animals in a manner that does not allow them to turn around freely, lie down, stand up, and fully extend their limbs. You have seen sometimes those reports about farms and such where they put these animals in small cages and so forth, like chickens and pigs, where they could not stand up, so their legs did not form correctly, or the pigs could not turn around, so their legs got limp. So this kind of made it so the animals were a little healthier and had better, well, I'm not going to say better lifestyle, but hopefully better quality products were produced in the end of this. Okay, moving on to 2010, let the best two run off. Proposition 14 established a top two primary system in California. Top two primary is a type of primary election in which all candidates are listed in the same primary ballot. The top two votes getters, regardless of their partisan affiliation, advance to the general election. So basically what this is happened in California, basically it has stopped any Republican from running on the ballot. But to give an example that you can understand, imagine that the president is running in November, and there's no Trump, because all it is Bernie and Biden, because they got 30, 35, and 40% of the vote, and Trump was, I don't know, 15. Even though Trump's a different party, they're just saying, nope, we're going to take these top two people, and they can run off. So that is what they did. It doesn't matter if they're the same party or not. You just get to choose who leads it. Do you think that type of voting system is good or bad? Let me know your opinions below. I'd be interested. In 2012, your time's up. The Proposition 28, the California change in terms of limits initiative, it reduces the total number of years a politician can serve in the California state legislature from 14 to 12 years. You've already heard this many times, how they have lifetime lawmakers, right? That lifetime cushy government jobs. They try to curtail this. Moving on. Ban on human trafficking and sex slavery. Proposition 35 increases the prison terms for human traffickers. Requires convicted sex traffickers to register as sex offenders, which means they're going to be tracked for life. Requires criminal fines from convicted human traffickers to pay for services to his victim. So basically, he can now sue the person can sue the person who trafficked her or him. Okay, so this is kind of interesting right here, because right now we have the Me Too with these fake allegations. Do you think something like that might happen, where if you accuse me but it's a false accusation, can I now sue you for financial hardship? And mandate laws enforcement training on human trafficking. So that's for the police officers. 2012, changes to three strikes. In Proposition 36, it modified elements of the California's three strikes law, which was approved in the states of 1994. Okay, so now you can be released for many conditions versus three strikes, you're out forever, go to jail. So that was actually a thumbs up. It got some low-level offenders back out and gave them hope. Now, here's a controversial one. And in 2016, English in history? Is history, you say? Proposition 58. A yes vote supported repealing most of the 1998 Proposition 227, the English in Public Schools Initiative, thus effectively allowing non-English languages to be used in education institutes. Now, this passed by 75% of all Californians. Now, basically, so they say, all right, well, see, Senorita, I speak no English. I want you to teach me in Spanish. So they ask for public funds to teach in their language. Now, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about using your funds and they're sitting in your school and they're learning through a foreign language, but it's not the language of your country, of your nationality. They're basically, in some sense, put, giving special treatment to people that have no intent to assimilate into your country. Eventually, they might isolate you. Today, it could be Spanish, which most likely is in California, but by 2030, it could be Chinese, right? I don't know. I honestly feel very offended to that. Most people, when I travel the world, they don't like when I don't speak their local language. They think I'm a freeloader and I have no respect for their country. So I can understand. So what about you? What were your thoughts? All right, 2016, Proposition 59 to overturn Citizens United. You may have seen this or know about this because this was a big protest in Washington. Even the Supreme Court judges around the time protested. They walked on Washington. This was when, I don't know if it's Trump or Obama, but yeah, I guess it was Obama. I know it's Trump. Trump just got in around then. Anyway, Proposition 59 overturned the Citizens United. This was the federal law that said money is equal to speech. Thus, it should not be limited when donating to a campaign or lobbying for someone, or something special. While the law is the law of the land, it is not affected in California due to the proposition passing. So yes, the Citizens United is enacted in all, well, was enacted in all 50 states, but now California has a law, so it does not affect it in California. What do you think about that? Do you think money should be used for free speech, or do you think it should not? Please leave your comments below on that. All right. Oh, fun times. 2016. Let's get wasted. Proposition 64, marijuana legalization. A yes vote supported the legalization of recreational marijuana for persons aged 21 years or older under the state law which established certain sales and cumulative taxes. Yes, California wanted this tax money. Proposition 64 legalized the recreational use of marijuana for adults aged 21 or older, permitting smoking in private homes or at a business licensed for on-site marijuana consumption. Smoking was to remain illegal while driving a vehicle anywhere smoking tobacco is and all public places. Now it's kind of interesting because yes, you can smoke, but if you know, marijuana stays in your body for 72 hours, sometimes up to a week. So, you know, you're still driving under the influence. And even though this is a California law, remember, the federal law is higher. It still says it's illegal. And it would be interesting to know the aftermath, because if you recall, in 2000, we had the Proposition 36, which said if I smoke marijuana, I have to go to rehab. So it'll be interesting to see how the rehab business is doing nowadays. Let's keep going. 2016, let's go green. Plastic not invited. Proposition 67, plastic ban veto reformation. Voters supported upholding the constitutional congested legislation banning certain plastic bags that was enacted in the California Legislation Senate Bill 270. What do you use when you go shopping and carrying everything around? What are your thoughts on the plastic ban? Like me, I use those, like, I don't know, those like big Costco bags. They're like big and heavy and they're sturdy and you can use them over and over again. Okay, now this is the last one because, and this is why I want to end it. The cost and signatures of a proposition. I told you your vote can make a difference. And so this is for the plastic ban, for the plastic bag, to get that passed. They got 504,000 signatures within California. So they went door to door. Maybe they had, I don't think you can go online anymore to do that. But you can go door to door. You can stand outside of a business and you can get signatures. So they got 504,000 signatures to show that people wanted it. Now, the lawyer processing fees to get the bill through was $2,091,000, or if you break that up, $5.77 a signature. Now, remember, you can make a difference. Your vote or take the proper steps to make a proposition law of the land that you believe in. If you liked my video, please like, subscribe, or comment below on anything you learned today.